Well, hello everyone, and leave it up to the god Xelor to rewind time to somehow get back to one of our favorite, all-time favorite, Temporis events. However, there are some changes to Temporis 6 over Temporis 4, and in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of those big changes for you and kind of what's going to be the same. So if you don't mind, smack that like button for me, and let's roll this. Alright, so this is how this is going to play out. Ankama did a podcast where they went through all these slides. I've downloaded all the slides, and so I'm going to be showing you each of those slides as well as covering some notes that I jotted down from the actual podcast. So hopefully you'll get a really good idea of what all is going to be going on in this Temporis. And I gotta say, right up front, this sounds amazing. There's one new thing in this Temporis that is blowing my mind. I'm so pumped for it, and I'm hoping it might find its way into the real Dofus sometime down the road. But we'll get to that here in a moment. So the first thing they talked about is the fact that they wanted to bring back Temporis 4, but try to find ways to improve on it. And if for those of you who have maybe not participated in Temporis before or wasn't sure what Temporis 4 was, basically Temporis is an event where for a temporary amount of time, and for this one, it starts September 22nd, and it's going to run for 8 weeks. And pre-registration is already open. Okay, so if you come over here to the Dofus website and click on the pre-register button, you're going to be taken to a page here where you can select your server and select your class and your name, and you pre-register and you sign that and lock it in. Now the server that you're going to want to pick if you want to be with as many English content creators and speakers as possible is the server Domo or Domo, however you pronounce that. There are a bunch of us that have already pre-registered on that. In fact, we've created an actual Discord for English players. I will include a link of that in the description below. That's where we're going to be really trying to hype up and support and help people on this Temporis, unlike we've ever been able to do before. So fingers crossed this is going to work out well with us all working together. So you can change your class as often as you want to up until the day of release. So if you're not entirely sure which class you want, you can go ahead and pick one just so you've got your name and your server reserved. Once you go in there, it will show you there is a limited number of spells that each class will start with. They'll have active and passive spells. And then the whole purpose of the Temporis, and the reason that it's called the Scroll Sayers, because you're actually going to go out there and drop the other spells as scrolls from all the enemies that are out there in the world of 12. They'll be dropped just like a resource. There'll be some that you can craft. There'll be some that you can get on the actual battle pass. I'm going to try not to go in too much on like what a Temporis is. I will try to include a video link in the description where I've kind of covered this in the past. So if you want more details on what is a Temporis, just go check out one of those videos. I'll even try to flash a card up here in the corner, make it easy if you want that. Okay, so I say all that to say this. The 300 so spells that are going to be out there for you to drop as resources like you did in Temporis 4, they said something like around 60% of them have been revised in certain ways or changed completely. So even though it's the same concept, you might find completely brand new spells or even spells from last time that are slightly different. So they're very excited to see what the changes are going to be on that. Also, another really cool thing about this Temporis is the fact that equipment will be dropped from the enemies. Not resources, there will be some resources, but just straight up equipment, all the way up to level 200. And they said that the equipment is going to be linked to the level of the gear with the level of the enemies. So I get that as in, if you're needing level 30 gear, you need to go fight enemies that are between the levels 30 and 40. They also used the panda as an example to say that some of the passive and active spells that your class will carry have also been revised a little bit. If you want to read through that, you can. In fact, there's a second slide here where they're talking about the spells and how it works. On the Twitter account, the Ankama Twitter account, they actually have videos showing these spells in action. So you might want to go check that out if you're kind of curious about Panda specifically, but they said that all the classes have been maybe revised a little bit, so that'll be a fun twist as well. All right, I touched on this just a minute ago about equipment being dropped by the monsters, and right there they're talking about the level range. A couple interesting things they pointed out is that all the equipment will be dropped by at least 3 different types of monsters, so you can actually not have to fight in one specific area to get that one piece of equipment. You should be able to spread out to other areas and have a chance of going after that as well. And then I already touched on the base about the level range will be kind of tied to the equipment equipment. Another thing they talked about is you can drop the Dofuses as well, but it's a little bit different. What you will actually drop, and they haven't officially decided on the name of this yet, but you will drop basically Dofus shards or fragments. They're going to be like pieces of Dofuses, and then there's going to be an NPC, it sounds like, that you will go to and exchange a certain number of those to get a specific Dofus. So they haven't revealed a whole lot of detail on that yet, but you will be able to drop the Dofuses as well. So next up is going to be the scrolls, the spells. I kind of touched on these a little bit. Here's a little bit more of a breakdown on that, where they're talking about the 300 spells. There's going to be lots of ways to get those. Some will be by dropping them from monsters. Others will be from the actual battle pass. They said that there'll be some on there. Others will be crafted by this scroll magus. I don't know how many of you guys might remember that, but that's basically where you're going to take, say, 3 spells that you have dropped from somebody, and then you can combine those to form a new spell. Now, they did also say that they've put together some fun, powerful combos inside the setups as well, if you can find them and discover them. They did say, however, they will be watching those combos, and if they turn out to be too powerful, enjoy it while you can, because at the next update, they might bring a nerf to that thing. So if you find something that's super powerful, take advantage of it and exploit it as long as you can, because you might only have a few days before it gets the nerf hammer. So here's kind of a cool thing as well. They said they really wanted to have a social aspect to this as well, kind of like they did in the 5-card Monty from Temporis 5, you know, where you could roll those 5 cards, you land a piece of gear, and then you could share it real easy by just snapping a shot of it and sharing it with the people that you want to. Well, what they're doing here now is they put together like a new interface here where you can actually create like your spell deck. And these are the spells that you found that are being very useful or very helpful to put together. And you will be able to share your spell deck with people. So I thought that's kind of a cool thing. If you're in the Discord that we've created, I'm sure we might even have a channel that we create where people can share the spell decks they've come up with. And you can put comments about, hey, if you're this class, use this setup. This is working out really well. This is where you can get these spells, things like that. But I thought that was a nice little touch that they've added there. So just like Temporis 5, there is going to be a new zone with this. They said they actually have wanted to create this temporary zone for a while now, and I got a feeling this is something that will probably come back with future Temporis events as well. But basically, this is going to be a zone that we can then meet at, kind of like Ecaflip City. They did say that we will not have to come back here as often as we did Ecaflip City, which is actually kind of good news. I feel like I was constantly having to head back there. But you'll come back here to interact with some different NPCs. Philippaz is here, and that's because you are actually going to be able to still go to the nightclub, and I'll touch on that here in a second, but you'll recognize him there. There's a couple new people down there as well. And they said that you'll be able to get to this from Incarnum, Astrub, and then some other places around the World of 12. Probably Bonta, Brockmar, you know, the hot spots is probably where you're going to find those. But they also said that the scroll mage profession thing will also be able to be taking place up here. It sounds like there's more to this than just this room, but this is the slide that they had on that. They said that we're going to want to explore it because there's some fun twists and turns up here. So who knows what we might find up there, but it's a cool looking place. Speaking of Philippaz and the nightclub that I just mentioned. So they said that the strategy of having the nightclub where people can use tokens to get the arch monsters and the wanted monsters was a fantastic addition, and that the feedback on that was super positive, which I agree. That was way more easy to work with. So it is back, and that's what you'll do. You'll talk to Philippaz, it sounds like, and then you can go to the nightclub and do what you do there. But you might be asking yourself, how do you get the tokens? Well, we'll touch on that here in just a second. Here is the Scroll Mage Workshop. Again, I think this is up in that zone, and this is going to be where you'll be able to use those scrolls to make other scrolls. Now, a new feature that's been added, because they said that last year, or the last time they did this, one thing that happened is as you got later in the game, people had tons and tons and tons of certain scrolls, but then they had no use for them, no spells, no, you couldn't sell them or anything like that. So now what you can do is you can actually destroy those scrolls to get scroll okens. I love the names they come up with these. But the scroll okens can then be used to exchange with up here to get some fun cosmetic stuff that will be kind of exclusive to this method. You can also use those to exchange for the search okens, I believe they're called, and those are what you'll use in the nightclub to get the arch monsters. But this will allow the scrolls to continue to carry value no matter how far into the game you get. You can come here, crush them, get the tokens that you need, and then you can try to earn some things that way. In fact, I think they even said that some of the achievements and things that you can do are dependent upon you actually using this feature. And we'll touch more on some achievement stuff. In fact, that's towards the end. I'll try not to jump ahead, but there's a lot of neat things that come out of this new system they put in place here. Okay, this is the feature I'm most excited about. So they got the Pantheon of companions, and what you have here are 36 unique sidekicks that you can get. Now, the cool thing is they said these sidekicks are way more powerful than the normal sidekicks. They are the equivalent of having another character or person on your team. The big goal behind doing this is the fact that you can now get groups easier to go run dungeons. So they use the example of you, if there's only like 2 or 3 of you, you each throw on a companion, and now you've got the team equivalent of a 4 or 6, and you can go run those things. I believe they said the companions also, just like the sidekicks, they level as you do. Now, each one of these companions will have a very unique set of spells that are not changeable, and they also said that there are achievements for collecting as many of these as you can. My guess is if you manage to collect all 36, you get some kind of award, or maybe if you get 35, the 36th one is maybe unlocked or something. I don't know how that'll work. But they said that these all have very unique characteristics, very unique spells, and that some of them even have references to the Dofus community and people that actually work at Ankama. So depending on how well you know the people from Ankama, you might be able to spot those a little easier. I bet the French community will probably spot those way easier than we do. But I still think that's a really cool twist. How cool would it be if there was an IOP running around named Benjamight or something on there? Oh, that would be so cool. But a little more details they got here on the companion. They're talking about the new currency, those scroll okens. It sounds like you'll be able to get some of the companions by using those. Those are what you destroy spells to get. You can hire them, it sounds like. Some of them I think you'll get on the actual battle pass. It's wild to think about how these work. And 36 of them. 36 of them, 8 weeks. So if you wanted to, you could use a different companion like every 2 days and just barely get enough time to play around with each one of them. So it's pretty wild to think that they made 36 of these puppies for this 8-week event. But here are the tokens, which I pretty much covered already. You're going to take your scroll okens and you can exchange them for search okens and arch okens depending on what you want to go fight, and then you can go use those in the dance club. Now, here's what we're all really here for. What are the fun little goodies we get to bring back with us to the big server? Well, they have a brand new set of gear and a new pet, which is on the next slide. We'll get to that. But this is the final look of the set. It actually comes with a set of wings that look like they're glowing, and I don't know, maybe they're moving or something, but it looks amazing. So this is the cosmetic outfit you can get, and here is the pet. My goodness, that thing looks amazing. And it starts out as a pet and then it evolves into a pet's mount. Now, they did say that some of these will have alterations to where it changes colors. Now, the way they said it was kind of odd, but my guess is it's kind of like Temporis V, where you would have a regular cat version and then the next tier up would be a chameleon version of that. I imagine this is kind of the same thing. So maybe there's the regular cat and then the next step up, the color of the tail and the eyes change to the color of your hair or something. But I'm guessing that's how that's going to work. But my goodness, that is one of the coolest looking pets, and I'm totally wanting to get all the way to that last one. It's the first one they've made that really makes me want to get that, but there it is. I'm pretty pumped for that. Also, the last 2 weeks of this, they said typically a Temporis runs for 6 weeks. This one's going to go for 8 weeks because the last 2 weeks is actually going to be for a PvP tournament. If you want to know more details, they will release more as we get closer. One cool twist to this is it sounds like it's going to be 2v2. Or you register in teams of 2. I don't really know how that's going to play out, but I'm not much of a PvP channel, but if you want to know more about that, that takes place on the last 2 weeks of this Temporis. Okay, so pre-registration is open right now. I already showed you if you go to the Dofus website, boom, it's right there on the main page, pre-register. I highly, highly, highly recommend you do it because you're going to reserve your name. You can change your class or your character later if you want to. Remember, if you do want to change it though, you need to do it before it releases, because once the game goes live, they've made it very clear there is going to be no way to change your character. So my guess is you could create a second character and start all the way over if you wanted to. Also, you get a gift, which is basically almost like a free piece of 50 HP bread that you can use after every fight. And it is so useful in that early game when you want to just be kind of turning fights real fast. You get through a fight, double click that, get your health back, go on. It's wonderful. So make sure you pre-register, get that gift, get your name locked in, get your class locked in. The server that we are on is the Domo server. I think I pointed that out at the beginning. As I mentioned before, there has been an English Temporis VI server set up here. And Astro has been a big part of this. Artagon has also been a big part of setting this up. Great job, you guys. It's fantastic. They've got newcomers here, choose your class, passive information about the different classes. They're really doing a great job of upkeeping this. They've already set up several channels for people who are going to be running dungeons and they're looking for groups. You can hop in here, chat, go to town that way. So definitely make sure you come over here and get registered for this. I will try to include a link of this in the description. Hopefully I do not forget to do that. All right, and then I mentioned this at the beginning as well, but September 22nd is when this kicks off, and it's going to go for 8 weeks. Now, one last bit of information I got for you that they mentioned in the podcast. You know how there's different things that you can do, like you got the dungeons that you run, you got the achievements that you can go after, and all these different things to try to get your Tempokins. They realized that the past few have been very quest heavy, and they've reduced that. They said that they've tried to spread them out in a way now to where people can play a lot more of whatever they want to try to earn those Tempokins and work their way through that pass. So that's kind of a nice twist for those of you who have been not happy with all the questing that you've had to do in the process of trying to get through these. Also, they did say that you will be earning an XP potion again that will come back with you after the event to your normal server. But there we have it. That's everything I got for you on the Temporis VI. If there's any details that I left out that you really want to know, please leave it in the comment section below. I will try to get back with you. There is a great connection that we've got set up with Ankama right now for the English content creators. Astro, Lady Misai, and myself are the three that I know are very much involved in that. I'm pretty excited for this. They had to make it good. I mean, I loved Temporis 4, but to do another Temporis on the back of Temporis 5, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be too much, but they made it really good. Oh, I'm so excited. The rewards look good. The gameplay looks good. It looks like it's going to be very casual friendly, which is what I like because I don't have the time to just get in here and grind day after day like a lot of you people don't get to as well. So this should be a good Temporis. I hope to see it there. Anyways, if you haven't done it already and you don't mind, if you could smack that like button for me, I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, you all be safe out there. I will see you on the next one.